Cream team, shooting a quick private video for you all. I am talking about what are the most awkward conversations that you're going to be experiencing in this business. And what I'm talking about is the awkward conversations with sellers. When you're in contract with a seller, when you are negotiating with a seller, mostly when you're in contract with a seller, you're going to face some weird, awkward conversations. This is part of the business. And I'm going to show you how to navigate and circumvent this to kind of soften the blow. So, first off, the awkward conversations you're going to have to get used to, be prepared for, is number one, price reductions when you got to go back to a seller and renegotiate a deal. Number two is handling inspections. This is for your novation deals and really a wholesale deal. You want to send a buyer through, kind of working out the inspections and walkthroughs with your seller that you're in contract with. A second part of that could be awkward conversations with other parties involved, like buyers, basically letting them know, like, don't snake my deal, don't try because I'm fully protected. And, we can kind of get into that as well. And the third one is getting extensions, right? So you're in contract with a seller and you need a little bit more time. Your buyer needs more time to close, so you need to get a little extension from the seller. So in summary here, price reductions, inspections, navigating inspections, and then extensions. So here's the thing. You need to be upfront with the seller from the very beginning. It needs to be worked into your pitch when you're talking to sellers up front. And you're going to want to let them know several things. You're going to want to let them know that you are an investor. You're not buying this property. You're not entering this agreement. You're not doing this deal because you want to move into the property. If the seller thinks that you're like the end buyer, this thing's going to fall apart, right? So you got to be upfront. And the way to do that is when you're first talking to a seller and they ask like, well, how does this work? What do you guys do? What do you do? Right? You need to be able to answer that question. And write this down or listen to this recording numerous times, but here's my pitch. It rolls right off the tongue. So I buy houses, Mr. Seller, Mrs. Seller. I buy houses from people who want to sell or need to sell, but don't necessarily want to go through the traditional process of marketing, listing, and selling with a realtor. If you wanted to do that, I actually have a real estate license. I can help you with that, but that's not why we're talking. I buy houses from people who want to sell or need to sell, but don't really want to go through that traditional process, either because one of several reasons. Either A, they need a fast or a flexible closing. Maybe they want to make something happen quickly. I have the ability to do that. Or maybe they need a flexible closing where they need this property to sell at a certain time frame in order to close on a different loan or buy a different property. They need some flexibility or they need some speed with the closing, number one. Number two is they maybe don't want to do any work to the property, and that's perfectly normal, perfectly understandable. Most of the people I work with don't really want to do any more work. Well, that's good because I buy houses in their as-is condition. Or I work with people who just don't want to pay any commissions. They want to work directly with a buyer. They want to work directly with the buying party, and that's what we do. So, I buy houses, and that's what I do, and end the role play right now, and that's where I would leave it. So I kind of positioned myself in that as that I'm the end buyer. And you're going to kind of maintain that position while you carry this conversation through into your wholesale offer. Now, if they say no to your wholesale price offer, to your lowball offer, then you start to shift the conversation where, well, I have really good news. The good news is, well, since you can't take my lowball offer, my offer's too low for you. The good news is your property qualifies for our PEP program, Protect Your Equity program. And this will allow me to actually put your home in front of qualified buyers. These buyers will actually pay more because they're going to be living in the property. As I've told you, I'm looking to buy property. Yes, I buy properties, but I'm not buying a property to live in. It's very important to create that distinction. I buy properties that I can either fix up and resell for a profit, or fix up and then rent out for a positive cash flow kind of situation. That's what I do. That's my business, right? And then you're going to kind of carry that mind frame of like, this is what I do. I'm an investor to buy a house, to fix it up and resell it for a profit. Be very upfront about that. And then if your lowball offer is not accepted, now we need to shift this conversation into one of like a novation strategy. So price reductions, when you enter this contract, remember what I taught you guys in previous videos where it's like, it's never your decision. It's like, hey, I got to run it past the underwriting department. I got to run it past the finance department. I got to run it past my partner. I got to, don't kill the messenger. So let's go ahead and write up this agreement for X. And I'm going to do everything I possibly can to get this thing through for you. In fact, let's hurry up and get this agreement inked up so I can get it on the desk of my underwriting department, get it on the desk of my private lender immediately. Like, that's the urgency that you're creating. But then you can always go back and be like, oh, if you need to get a price reduction, oh, that partner of mine, oh, they're a stickler. They saw that comp. Remember, we kind of looked at some other numbers together, and that house over on Main Street that sold for like $50K, and we don't know what's going on with that house. Well, they saw that comparable. So unfortunately, they're wanting to get this thing less. The only way I can get this deal done, where can we go? Can we kind of like bring this back into a range that works for you and works for them? I'm just here to get the deal done for you. What if we, reduce the price just a little bit here to get this deal done? That's how you do it. Remember, it's always the third party that's denying your deal. Now you have to, get a better deal from the seller, but you're still on the side of the seller. You're still with them, and it's like me and you versus this third party. We got to get this price reduction. I already warned you about the third party when I first wrote this agreement with you. Remember how I told you I got to get it approved from them? So if you preface your original agreement with there's this third party, you're going to use that third party, whether it be a partner, underwriting department, finance department, something like that. You're going to use that as ammo, as the enemy, if you need a price reduction in the future. Next is with inspections. This could get a little crazy. What we like to do is just call anyone who's looking at the property. If it's a wholesale buyer and we're doing a wholesale deal, we just say these are capital partners. I think that's the most integral way to do this because they are capital partners. They are bringing capital to close this deal, right? When we're wholesaling, we pretty much leave it at that. Hey, we got to have our capital partners go through the property. That's where we leave it. We've had some students in the past, do the whole thing with like, oh, they're with the insurance company. That's like a blatant lie. So it's only going to blow up on your face eventually. It just doesn't feel right. So capital partners, when you're showing your property to wholesale prospective buyers, we use capital partners to help circumvent any awkwardness of telling them that's a third party buyer. Now, if you have converted this wholesale transaction into a novation, a PEP deal, they're going to know these are retail buyers because that is the pitch. That's what you're saying. Hey, your wholesale offer did not get approved. The seller doesn't want to take your wholesale offer. Good news is you qualify for the PEP program. We can actually get this in front of some retail buyers. And this way you can get the number that you're wanting to net. And we will front any cost for rehab, et cetera. They're going to know it's retail buyers and novation. In a wholesale situation, to avoid any potential awkwardness, just say capital partner, and we've been successful doing that. Finally, is extensions. There's no there's no way to beat around the bush on needing an extension. It is what it is. The closing date's getting pushed back. So get an extension signed. There's no fancy way to say you need more time. Right? You just got to be able to do it. And just say, hey, the funding there's a snag in the funding. Oh, and stay on their side. Oh, yeah, this funding department. Oh, they're the bane of my existence. These people piss me off. Oh, they're getting in the way of me. In this deal, I'm gonna fight like hell. Oh, that guy, he's the problem, not me, not you. It's me and you. You're on the side of your seller, your client, the entire time, right? Oh, it's somebody else's fault. I'm going to push like hell. I'm going to get this deal done. And the best thing to do is actually be more upset than them, right? Be like, oh, I'm upset about this and that. And if you're more upset, than the seller's going to be like, okay, well, it sounds like you got it handled. But if you're just like, oh, I have really bad news, this and that, we're going to need an extension, then they're going to be pissed. So you got to approach this thing as like, I'm upset about this because I'm on your side and I'm trying to get this done. And that is my advice for the day. Everybody, let's make it a great day. Let me know any questions that you have. Let's keep the conversation going and let's crush it.